Thank you very much, D-Man. Now, with that win, KaBuM, rather, Najin Shield has clinched a spot in the quarterfinals. Let's take a quick look at the standings before we talk about the game, because I want to highlight some of the things that have happened. First and foremost, Najin White Shield guaranteed a spot in the quarterfinals. The seed is what matters. That will be determined later in the day. And regardless of the results against Cloud9, there will be a tiebreaker, either against Cloud9 for first place or Cloud9 against Alliance for the second seed into the quarterfinals. Let's go back to the game, talk about what happened. First and foremost, picks and bans. I feel like KaBuM had a very good strategy going in.
I think you really have to praise KaBuM for their planning in these games, because both of their games today, they had the better draft. And if we look at Alliance's team comp here, this is just, it's bad. They've got a pick comp going on, but they have no wave clear. And that was like a major problem in this game, because when you're playing against a Jinx who can just take down these towers so quickly, you have to have some way to stop her from just standing there in minigun form and taking all your turrets. And when you have no pressure, when you have no zone, it makes it all too easy for her to do that. So they played it out. They played out their win conditions really well. You know, even though Froggen had some nice roaming in the early game, every time he left, it seemed like KaBuM would just take another turret. And then when you have that kind of lead, you can snowball it pretty easily. Yeah,
it's interesting you talk about the pick comp from Alliance, because it was KaBuM finding picks in the early game that snowballed each of their lanes, that allowed them to pick up towers unanswered. Double lift, care to chime in on what KaBuM did right?
If you told me that a Hex Drinker second item Jinx would beat the team that had a perfect game against Najin White Shield, I would have called you trash. But, I mean, I don't know what to say. These guys played really well. They made it work.
I want to quickly ask Crumbs something very quickly, because you called on day one of this stage that KaBuM would win a game.
That's right.
I'm still not sure if you're a prophet or a false prophet.
Told you KaBuM would win one game, and it came down to the wire last one. So.
And it's against Alliance. I mean, it just looked like they fell to pieces. Let's pull up the replay that we've got from the game on your screen. It really just encapsulates everything that KaBuM did right. Roll the clip out, probably. Talk to me about the god that is Tinones in this play.
Oh, Tinones is a beast. He sees Wicked through that ward, and he knows Wicked doesn't have ult, so he goes all in. But watch, he gets an auto every time he Spirit Rushes, and that's what seals the deal on Wicked. And now he's just, you know, groups back with his team, and he's still paying attention to all the skill shots that are about to come out, though. He hits the charm on Twitch, which is super strong for that follow-up, because that's what would have got Tinones out. Tinones was wait for Zhonya's to flash Froggen's E, and now Froggen's in the vulnerable spot. They basically just collapse on Froggen, and, you know, they win the game, man.
Yeah, and this composition, too, we saw a lot of really nice chaining of CC from KaBuM here over the course of the game. I mean, this is honestly like a nightmare team comp for Fizz to play against. You look at the Black Shield, so many binds, roots, Jinx traps. They can just stack it up as soon as somebody goes in. And that was combined with some misplays from Alliance, where during crucial moments, they would use both Zhonya's on Fizz and the Kayle ult on Fizz at exactly the same time, layering that on top of each other. And that means that Fizz was just blown up as soon as the Kayle ult ended.
I also feel Froggen felt pressure to carry. Some of the decisions that he made were very hard, very rash, very quick, and it felt to me, because I've watched this team a lot, like Froggen went, I have to win this game, I have to carry it.
Of course. I mean, sorry. Of course. With a team comp like that, no one's going to carry.
Yeah, there was nothing they could do. They couldn't siege. That was a terrible composition with Twitch for sieging. They had a melee mid laner and effectively, a pseudo melee top laner. And so you can't defend the siege, you can't siege yourself, you kind of just have to all in. But against the comp that KaBuM fielded, it made it very, very, very difficult.
Final thoughts, Probably?
I just want to know if KaBuM mind-gamed it, because they know Froggen is a ridiculously good Fizz. So they pick Ahri, really, really vulnerable against Fizz. But then they have Ryze and Morgana to back up the Ahri. And they're like, and they're like, pick the Fizz. Pick the Fizz. And they got in, they're like, ah.
I think so too. Right, guys, we're going to throw things over to Shox, who's standing by with a member of the victorious KaBuM Esports.